The purpose of this video is to give drivers and technicians basic steps to identifying post and pre-trip component issues. And with that, we need to open the hood and start the process. Check the cooling system for leaks or issues. When checking the coolant expansion tank, make sure you have the proper level. It's identified on the side of the tank with the max and min level. Also, check for proper color. Never open the cap with the engine hot or running. Check for engine belt condition. Check for cracking or fraying of the belt itself. Check the belt pulley and idler condition. Reach down inside where you have a free area of the belt. Just give it a slight tug back and forth. You'll feel the tension on the belt itself and make sure the idler is free. If the idler is worn out and doesn't return to its normal state, report that to your maintenance department. Check for exhaust leaks. To check for exhaust leaks, you need to start the engine, but first, do the following. Set the parking brake, make sure the unit is not in gear, then press the clutch and turn the key. If your engine is louder than normal, it could have a leak. Report the issue to your maintenance department. Check for leaks at the turbocharger and exhaust manifold. Always be careful not to touch any exhaust components when the engine is hot. Make sure to check for obvious problems. Cracks, for example, could let exhaust into the cabin and or cause a loss of power to the engine. Also look for leaks and black soot. Check engine oil level. Always make sure you have the proper oil level. Anywhere between the add and full mark is acceptable. Notice the oil condition. Black is okay as long as you don't have any moisture or different discoloration. Check power steering fluid. Remove the dipstick and identify the fluid is at the correct level. Check for any external leaks that may cause problems. Check steering control and steering linkage. A quick way to identify any problem is to grab a hold of the steering shaft and rock it back and forth. Check for any movement in the linkage and no movement in the tire itself. Check transmission and clutch components. An easy way to do this is to check your clutch free pedal. Move the clutch pedal back and forth. You should have between an inch and an inch and a half of free travel. That's where the clutch actually meets the throwout bearing internally in the transmission. This is important. Without the clutch free pedal, you'll have clutch failure. But by doing this check procedure, you might be able to prolong the useful life of your transmission and clutch assembly. Check transmission gears. Depress the clutch pedal, start the engine. Make sure you can get the unit into gear easily. If it goes in smoothly, you're successful. If not, report that immediately to your maintenance department, as it will create downtime on the road for you. Check for U-joint and driveline issues. Check for any shiny components on any universal joints off the driveline, and look for worn universal joints that could cause a failure on the road. Check for leaks on shaft seals. This step is to check the input shaft seal and identify any leaks going into or out of your rear end seals. Look for any wet residue or accumulating oil going into the rear end. Loss of oil could cause a failed rear end. Check the inner wheel assembly. Look for any oil leaking from a defective wheel seal. This is important to observe. Any oil or residue left on the brake shoe could indicate a failed wheel seal. If such residue or oil is noticed, report that immediately to your maintenance department. Check the torque rod assembly. It's important to have the assembly on a level plane. An improper ride height will cause significant driveline damage and rear end failure. If your torque rod assembly is not on a level plane, report the issue to your maintenance department for adjustment. Check the wheel end assembly. Do a quick visual inspection of the wheel end assembly itself. Check for rust streaks or cracks in between the lugs. Any rust or cracking in between the lugs or poor lug nut condition could cause wheel end failure, resulting in catastrophic loss of life and property. So take the time to check your wheels and make sure they're in good condition. As a professional driver, a pre-trip component inspection must be part of your daily routine. Not only is it a DOT regulation requirement, but it also helps secure your safety and the safety of those around you.